Joining me now from Boston is Dr. Anupam Jena. He's a professor of healthcare policy at Harvard Medical School and a physician at Massachusetts General Hospital. Why did it take so long, do you think, to get this vaccine into China?
It's taken a long time. The vaccine was introduced in the United States in 2006, so more than 10 years ago. The regulatory process in China for the approval of new medications is incredibly complex. It's not surprising that medications take long. This is on the longer side, I think. It's partly due to the fact that the Chinese government frequently requires that clinical trials be conducted in the Chinese population and also follow clinical trials that have also been conducted in the rest of the world first.
What impact do you think it's going to have in China and now that it's finally arrived there?
I think the impact will be huge. I mean, let me give you a few numbers. So there's about 500 million women in China who are at risk of developing cervical cancer from HPV. About 60,000 to 100,000 women develop cervical cancer each year in China, and about 30,000 women die each year of the disease. So the impact will be quite large, I'm sure.
How is this vaccine being received internationally?
It varies. So the United States, where I'm most familiar with uptake of the vaccine, has been pretty low. Initially, it was around 50 to 60% of eligible girls were vaccinated, and by eligible I mean above the age of 9 and below 25 years old. Now vaccination rates are closer to 80%, but if you think about what the vaccine means for society, any number below 100% is really too low.
What about the negative reporting? There have been some negative stories about potential side effects. How does that impact things?
I think the main impact that people worry about is actually the fact that HPV itself is a sexually transmitted disease. And so the United States, I'd say there's a few barriers. So one is that there's this general hesitancy against vaccines and the link to autism, which has been thoroughly debunked for many years now. The second with this particular vaccine is the cost, but in the United States, for example, insurance companies do pay for that, and the cost would still be high in China. But if you think about what the clinical benefit is, it's really quite large and really a good value. I think the biggest reason, though, is because it's a sexually transmitted disease, there is a stigma associated with being vaccinated. And the concerns that we've studied have been parents who believe that getting vaccinated will somehow lead to increases in promiscuity because young kids will feel like they're protected against the other forms of STDs, which we found to be completely false.
All right, Dr. Jena, thanks so much for your observations, joining us from Boston. Appreciate it.